Well, hello again and welcome back once more, all my YouTube subscribers and occasional browsers, and thanks for giving up more of your valuable time to visit my vintage dirt bike TV channel. Now in my next feature clip we are going to take a look at a very nice pair of Spanish-made Bultaco machines. So please hang around for the next few minutes as we take a browse at a Mark 11 125 and Mark 11 250 Bultacos. Now both of these machines were just another of the many bikes I captured at the 2020 Telford Classic Dirt Bike Show. Now we're going to start with this very nice Mark 11 125 model, which is very rare. You never see many of these 125 Mark 11s on the racetracks these days, but this is a very rare machine indeed. Now unfortunately I was never given any information on both these machines on the day, so I'm just actually guessing as to what particular year this bike is, and I'm going to stick my neck out once again and say that I think it's a 1978 Mark 11 125, although what do I know, I've been wrong before. But nevertheless it's still a very nice looking original machine, although it may have undergone some restoration in previous years, but it's a very nice example of one of these very rare Mark 11 125s. Now as I mentioned, there aren't many of these 125 Pursangs circulating around the racetracks these days, and for me especially this is the first one that I've came across that I've actually seen in the flesh, so to speak. But these Bultaco bikes just have that look with that very bold blue frame, the blue tank and side panels, and of course this very nice matte black well engineered Pursang 125 motor. Now Bultaco of course was formed by Francesco Paco Bulto, who actually started as a director of another Spanish motorcycle company at Montesa. Now the name Bultaco comes from combining the first four letters of Francesco Bulto's surname with the last three letters of his then nickname, which was called Paco, so hence the name Bultaco. But actually, just as another little bit of added trivia here, is that MotoGP racer Seti Gibernau is actually the grandson of Bultaco founder Francesco Bulto. But throughout their years of manufacturing, Bultaco did build some fantastic off-road trials bikes and motocross machines, and for me specifically these Mark 11 125s is a first for me, and this was the first time I'd actually clapped eyes on one of these very rare 125 Mark 11s. Now this second Mark 11 machine is a 250 model, and yet again this is quite a rare bike, and this particular example was actually listed as a model 206 and was also listed as an American prototype. Now the information I was given on the day was that this bike was listed as having an engine and frame number of 206 00001, which again tells me that this is a quite special machine. Now one of the other bits of information that came with this bike was a reference to motocross legend Harry Everts, although the information never actually said what the connection between Harry Everts and this bike actually was. Now I know Harry Everts did ride for Bultaco at one point, although I can only remember Harry when he won the World Championships in 1975 on a German Puch motorcycle. Now, as you all know, these Bultaco motocrossers were named the Pursangs. The Bultaco Matadors were actually your enduro bikes, and the Sherpa Ts, of course, were for all your trials riders. Now in 1979, these 250 Pursangs then went to the long travel suspensions because riders were calling for more ground clearance from their Bultacos. So the company then introduced a 260mm front end with an increased 280mm at the rear. Now these Bultaco Pursang motors were great little engines, and most of their component parts, if I remember correctly, were readily interchangeable, whereby you could replace a cylinder from say a 250 with one from maybe a 200 or even 360 model. But these Spanish Bultacos were sold in decent numbers around the world, although their biggest customer was of course the USA, who bought these Spanish bikes in very big numbers. Now these Mark 11s, as many other Bultacos, were fitted with these quite high-tech beater forks. Now these were classed as quite decent suspension systems for your late 1970s, although there were better suspension systems about at the time, but many of these Bultacos were fitted with these beater front forks. Now one of the other parts on these Bultacos were these very long front mudguards on their machines. Now I'm not entirely sure as to why these were so long, but they were very radical for the late 1970s. Yet again, many of these Bultacos used these Bing carburetors, which were well known for helping a motor to make plenty horsepower. Now they weren't the most sophisticated of parts, but these Bing carburetors did their job superbly well. Now whether both these bikes have been restored, I'm not sure, but if they've not been restored, then these are most certainly quite rare machines in Bultaco terms, and you can then understand why these bikes are just used as show bikes and not race machines. But both these bikes certainly look to have all the correct parts on them for that particular era, and are really testament to the owners who have looked after them, in order that we can just catch a short glimpse of what these Spanish Bultacos actually look like when viewed from the dealership window a way back in the day. Although I do apologise for not being able to supply you with more information about both these bikes, as the 2 days at the Telford show for me were quite frantic, and this was really another one of those smash and grab photo shoots, and I never really had much time to speak to the actual owner of the machine to determine more details. Although without doubt both these bikes are indeed very rare machines. This Mark 11 125 for me was a very nice bike, and as I mentioned earlier, the first time I'd actually seen one of these 125s in the flesh. And this 250 prototype also has some history, and these are a couple of very nice old Spanish made Mark 11 machines. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this brief trip down memory lane, and don't forget to continue to subscribe to my YouTube channel. This video was brought to you in association with WorldSport, the world's #1 supplier for all your off-road and leisure sportswear. Just visit their online website for more information.